Good evening, good evening, Facebook. We are so happy that you are joining us this evening. My name is Andrea Clark-Horton. I am the director of the Perinatal Mental Health Alliance for People of Color with Postpartum Support International, or PSI. We call ourselves the Alliance over here. And we are doing this series once a month to kind of bring issues about perinatal mental health that affect people of color to the fore, but also we want to make sure that we're bringing some information to those of you who are clinicians and providers, nonprofit, owners that work in this space, who may want to do things to elevate your platform, to bolster your professional development. And to that end, I am so excited that who we have with us this evening. I was about to call you the Reverend. That's me.
Well, I'm an officiant too now, so
Okay. She do a whole lot of stuff, y'all. Like she do a whole lot of stuff. But this is the Desiree, Miss Desiree, soon to be Dr. Desiree Israel. Yay! She is one of the co-founders of the Alliance. And so I'm going to let Desiree brag on herself for a little bit. And you better tell it all. I'm going to call you out if you don't tell it all.
talking about myself.
No.
But I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening and having this conversation because it's important and near and dear to me. But I am a licensed clinical social worker in DC, Maryland, and now Virginia. I'm reproductive psychotherapy. I have a private practice, Motherland Co. On the Maryland Mortality Review Committee. I think this is probably my last year on that. A practitioner and founding member of the Bloom Collective, a hotline counselor for the Maternal Mental Health Hotline. What else do I do? My program is ending. Coursework is ending on Friday. This Friday is my last class. I'm in a PhD program in social work at Widener University, and I'm so excited to close that chapter of my academic career and take a little break and focus on writing this comp paper and dissertation. So not too sure what my research will be on just yet. I say perinatal mental health in the Black birthing experience. I came in wanting to talk about teen parents in foster care because that was my role for 13 years. I worked in foster care for 13 years. But then I moved on to wanting to talk about midwives and collective care and self-care and mutual aid and taking care of our community midwives. And then now, because of my private practice and the women I've been seeing, I have a distinct interest in like fibroids, endometriosis, and hysterectomies in Black women between the ages of 30 to 45-ish, because I was seeing a lot of women who had multiple children and in their late 30s were starting to have hysterectomy. So I want to know why. Like, why is this happening? Is this the last resort? Have other things been tried prior to hysterectomy? So that's where my research is kind of leading me to, but it might change again. We'll see.
So then how did you come to, I mean, your background is like so rich, but how did you come to the area to concentrate your practice in perinatal mental health?
So I can't talk about that without talking about my own story. And I can give a brief synopsis of it. Had my first son in 2012, had undiagnosed postpartum depression and anxiety shortly after he was born. Trayvon Martin was killed, and that just like shook me to my core. And I didn't realize that vicarious trauma would have that distinct effect on me. Went to the PSI training in 2015, came back to Baltimore to see who was doing the work. There were probably like 2 people of color and no one accepted insurance. So I wanted to be sure that whoever came after me could find someone that looked like them, that looked like me, and I could help them with that. So that's how the Alliance came through with Jabina and Divya, and noticing, a lack of color in the perinatal mental health space, but then also noticing the same in our own communities and wanting to, help other clinicians, not just ourselves, but help other clinicians do that for themselves.
Yeah. Did you eventually find a provider of color when you were trying to address your own kind of vicarious trauma and what was going on with you postpartum?
So, they say therapists and social workers, us helping professionals, are the worst type of clients. I
Mhm.
didn't even think or know. It wasn't until I went to the PSI training that I realized that what I had in 2012 was postpartum depression. So when I was going through it, it didn't even dawn on me to find a therapist. I had family support. Their father was supportive, but I didn't even think to find anyone at that time. It wasn't until then that I was like, oh, this is what this was. It could have gotten worse, but
Mhm.
we're good now. We're trying to help other people not get there. So
That was good. That was a good it was it's difficult that that you lived that chapter of your story. But good that you've turned that chapter into a part of the story that you're helping to ensure other people don't have to the extent that you can. Other
right.
people have help walking through those chapters if that happens. So you talked about yeah, you talked about going to the PSI conference. Was that the first time in 2015?
Yes.
Okay. And you were just an attendee at that time.
Right. I didn't even go to the conference. I just attended the 2-day training, and then I got to see a little bit of the beginning of the conference. But by that time, I was like, okay, I got to catch this flight. It's not a lot of me or people that look like me, so I think I'm gonna dip out anyway. Um, so I came back in 2016 to the conference in San Diego. So 2015 was the training, 2016 was my first conference.
Mhm. What is it about our professions and conferences? Like, why are conferences important? And then why is it important for folks that look like us or Black, brown, or other folks of color? Why is it important that we're there in the first place?
Absolutely. So conferences, I want to say PSI really I got bit by the conference bug by going to a PSI conference. Um, for personal and professional reasons, and I'll talk about both, but on the professional side, I was able to build a community that I was not able to build locally. And in doing so, I look forward and can save and budget for those conferences, not just as a business expense, but just personally, I can make this a trip of mine. I can make it a personal trip, a little vacation, get to know a city I haven't been to before, but then also getting to see providers and just meeting new people, networking. That's what I love PSI for, going to the volunteer dinner or just, linking up with folks that are across the country that come back and forth to these conferences. And then just being what I guess drew me even more to present,
Mhm.
because a lot of people know I'm actually kind of shy. It may not seem like it, but I think being at PSI kind of helped me break out of that as well. Because I'm able to present in front of my people meaning people in the perinatal mental health industry, but then also BIPOC folks can also see, oh, there's a Black or brown person presenting. Maybe this is a conference that I should look out for, or maybe I want to present at that conference. So I think it's just helped to build resume skills, CV skills, public speaking skills, networking skills. It's everything.
All of those things. Yeah, when you went to that first conference in 2016, were there any sessions led by BIPOC providers that you went to?
2016. I'm sure there were. I don't remember.
Mhm.
And I don't want to get my conferences mixed up. I do remember seeing a workshop on working with Native Indigenous folks, but I don't remember. I can't recall that 2016 conference. What I do recall, though, which led to the alliance being formed, was Artie Sakura, the
Oh,
chef on Food Network. She was the keynote for the banquet, and she talked about her experience with perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, and that, like, I got, we folks got to meet her afterwards, got, an autograph from her cookbook, but then also having that personal one-to-one conversation, because she brought it up like, there's not a lot of us brown folks here. And I was like, she's not even a provider, but she's, someone, a consumer basically, that would, seek out someone that looks like her. And she's like, we had a very brief interaction, but I remember that so clear. And just then meeting Jabina and Divya during that time and like, okay, what can we do about this?
Yeah. I think that I know my experience before coming to PSI, I worked as a chaplain in hospital, and I dealt a lot with women who were either electively terminating pregnancy for any number of reasons, or who were they and their families were experiencing loss. They had medically fragile children in the NICU. And it would be evident to me that post-discharge, they would need some continued support.
Right.
I know that the social workers a lot of times will refer them to PSI for the virtual support that we have. But there's that ongoing need for support, maybe some more one-on-one personal support. And a lot of the time, my patients, especially my patients of color, would say that, they were not going to go or really comfortable going to see someone who was not a provider of color.
Right.
And so, which is part of the reason that I decided that maybe I want to go beyond chaplaincy and go back and do this doctoral work and become a therapist myself, because I see that there's a need, especially in this area. But that serves as a barrier for a lot of folks, right?
Yeah.
Providers. And I think that one of the things you said is so important about the conference attendance is you get to meet folks, even sometimes from your area, who you may not have known, right? And so you're widening your own kind of personal referral network too. Yeah.
Absolutely. We work in these silos. I remember the 2018 conference in Houston, which was like the largest BIPOC attended conference in PSI history, where, we're in Texas. Of course, Texas is a huge state, but there were, providers of color who were just down the street from each other, didn't know that they existed. And I think this was around the time that the directory was coming about, but it wasn't fully accessible yet. And it was just a great networking opportunity and just a collaborative opportunity as well, because there's enough room for everyone. Jabina know I come from, collaboration over competition, especially when it comes to this work, because there's so few of us. We're growing, but there's so few of us that, a lot of things you may not have to reinvent the wheel. Just don't take nobody's stuff. Always cite and all of that, give credit where credit is due. But where you're able to collaborate and work with people on different projects, especially virtually now, it creates a larger space for accessibility for everybody.
Yeah, that's good. Right. That's stuff about collaboration over competition and being ethical about what you're doing, right? So, right, like, don't claim that, sis, that's not your idea. She just said that. Yeah. She brought that up in the
Just changed
conversation.
2 little words. You
Right,
better
right.
fight that.
Uh-uh. How would I know if what a topic I'm thinking about would be right for presentation at a conference? Like, how do I even figure that out?
Right. So that's a good question. So what I've noticed, and being a part of other organizations, I always look back at if it's accessible, if you can see, because sometimes, organizations have past conference information on lock, but if you can't access past conference topics, and if you feel like yours is innovative of what you're doing, and you feel like no one's doing what you're doing, or even if someone you know someone that's doing what you're doing, but you feel like you're doing it differently or doing it better in a sense, kind of seeing the lay of the land in that way, but then also joining these mailing lists. I would not know what's going on in these organizations or even what they're looking for if I'm not on certain mailing lists. Like PSI just sent out the call for proposals, and they'll tell you right then and there, like these are the topics that we're looking for. And it could be very broad, fatherhood and psychiatry and all of that. So if you have something that's pinpointed in that topic area, definitely put your name in the hat. That's what it's there for. Don't be scared. So
Don't be- Even if what if I'm new to this? What if I'm still a student, like at whatever level, or I'm just out of school, just finished. I'm LPC, I'm not an LCPC. I haven't done the clinical requirements yet. Like, how do I know not just the topic, but if I'm ready? How can I tell if I'm ready?
So
what kind of helps you decide that for yourself?
Yeah, so there's two ways this can happen. So like I said, I'm shy, y'all. I have always presented with Divya and Jabina. So I've not, I think I've done one conference on my own. And that was something local here in Maryland, but that I was asked. It wasn't something that I put in a proposal for. And each time that Divya, Jabina, and I have presented at PSI conference, even though we are Alliance co-founders, we did have to put in a proposal still. So find someone to present with. If you have a mentor, that networking piece again is really important. Even if it's your first year going and you want to present the following year, use that first year in that conference space to network and find people that are kind of doing what you're doing. See if you want to present together. If you're a student, maybe the research, you have a paper that you submitted for one of your classes and you want to do that as a poster board, that's fine too. You don't have to, get up and stand up in front of everyone and, present. It could be a poster board, or you could co-present with someone, 1, 2, 5 people. So
yeah, that's a really good advice, Desiree, like, because you said, and then it takes some of the, not that there's not work involved in it, but it takes some of the pressure off of your shoulders, right?
right.
Right.
And working within your strengths too. So
Right.
if you're good at research, do the research portion of that presentation. If you're good with morale, like when we first presented, I'm a morale person. Jabina's a dynamic speaker. Divya's a dynamic speaker too. I'm a morale person, so I'm gonna get the crowd going if I need to, or I'm gonna, engage the crowd in some way, shape, or form. So there are ways to
you can balance one another out.
Absolutely.
So we have a comment from Robin, and she says that she's thinking about submitting to speak at next year's PSI conference, is what I'm assuming. And she wants to share her dissertation. She says she's nervous. What advice? Because you also, one of the other hats you wear is you're part of the committee that reviews those proposals, right?
Yes.
For the PSI conference, which next year will be in Kansas City, Missouri, from June 28th to July 2nd. The call for proposals and presenters has gone out already. And that closes when, Desiree?
January 4th.
Okay. So what can we say to Robin? She thinks she got something to say. She's done a whole dissertation.
Whole dissertation, Robin. That is 5 chapters or plus, over 100 pages, I'm assuming. You probably have 6 or 7 papers out of that. You can definitely write a book out of that, a book series out of that. Pick something out of that and present. Pick a topic, put in your proposal. PSI does a great job of, and I haven't seen other conferences do this, the submission guide that they put out with the proposal call. Follow that template to a T, but also be yourself. But definitely, please, Robin, I don't know you. I don't know what you look like, but I will be looking for your name now in those call for proposals. Which I also want to state, since I said I do not know Robin, if I know you and you put in a proposal, anytime that happens, we have to recuse ourselves from that,
Review.
from, I guess, grading or scoring that particular proposal. So I have seen colleagues that I've known for years. I've seen their stuff come through. I can't comment on them. I can, give my general feedback of, what I think, but it's not utilized in the final decision process. So.
Okay, so that's good to know. So it keeps it as impartial as possible.
Yes.
So
Yes.
as Robin, since she's been she wants to do this because she dropped a whole comment. So she wanted.
Right.
You just gonna use it as our
What's making
example.
you nervous? I'm interested. What is making you nervous, Robin?
Robin says she built a program for mothers and their supportive partners to help them with postpartum depression and anxiety.
Okay, and I'm guessing this is BIPOC focus. Put in that proposal.
Right. Since she's speaking up and kind of putting herself out there, which we appreciate you, Robin. We really do. What are a couple of tips, like in general? We'll use her as our example, but in general, when people are thinking about putting proposals together, and you have specific experience working with PSI, like what are some of the things that they should keep in mind?
I'm trying to think of things in the past that I've noticed. References are important. Having your headshot and bio is important. Making sure your CV is up to date. So sorry, my puppy. There was something else to that. Because she specifically built a program, what are the outcomes? What have been the outcome measurements of that? Because if it's working, we want to see how it's working. And then is this replicable? What does that look like? So that would be important for her to put into that proposal as well. What are those tangible things that people are going to learn? How can they recreate this without stealing? Right. And then also just making sure she has her personality shine through, because I've seen a lot of very dry proposals. Like, okay, I've seen this before. Like, okay, what makes this different? So making sure personality comes through as well.
So she has a question, and this is a question based on what you just said. This is a really good question because I thought of the same thing. Mm-hmm. She's still developing her content, so she doesn't have all the data, all the results. Should she still submit, or should she wait for a while? If this is just a conceptual idea,
I would still submit, because you be surprised what goes through. Some people have unfinished ideas or unfinished programs that have gotten through, and because I particularly have not seen something like this in my time of being on the committee, specifically for BIPOC mothers and their partners, that this could be helpful. So
right. We need what you cooking up, Robin.
Yes.
What we telling
experiential is still important.
It really is. It doesn't have to, cake don't have to be all the way baked. We still want to get a little taste, okay?
I don't know about that. I like my cake baked.
You lick the batter, you lick the spoon, you lick.
Okay, yeah. But then you don't need a perfect product to market. We all know that if you're in business for yourself, if you do not need the perfect website, you do not need the perfect anything to market yourself. This is a marketing, and this can still go on your CV. And I just learned this 2 weeks ago. Even if you don't present, you can put certain things on your CV, like you what is it called? I forgot the term. Like you put in a proposal for something that didn't get chosen. I don't know what the title would be called on the CV. I can't remember, but you can put that on your CV that you did put out for a proposal for a conference.
I didn't know that you could do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I would think, and maybe you can speak to this, Desiree, I would think that even just the process of pulling a proposal together is in and of itself like something that's a worthwhile endeavor. Even pulling it together and submitting even if you don't get to the stage where you're actually selected to present, like talk about the process of it, and has that been educational and helpful for you in the past in and of itself?
Sure, and I can give a personal example. I put in a proposal for the Association of Black Social Workers conference that's happening in your neck of the woods next year in Chicago. And that process, like everyone's process is different, but again, a program or something that I do in session with clients that I hadn't even conceptualized as a theoretical model or a program that I could do with them. I had so much fun answering those questions, researching things, seeing how things work. It's like you're putting together a lesson plan, or and I like those kind of things. If you don't like those kind of things, there are proposal writers, but I enjoyed that process of researching and seeing how this all comes together, and that, oh, okay, even if this doesn't get chosen, how can I actually do what I say that I do in this proposal in practice? So
That's how you know when you doing something that you're meant to be doing, right? You get excited about you don't even
yeah,
know how excited you're going to be about the process and like what else you can do with this. Like, so that is that I think it's hopeful in and of itself. So Tana says she wants to present, but she doesn't know what to present on, and she's not in school any longer. Like, she's a therapist in private practice. What suggestions do you have for people who may not be in or still close to the academic, piece of their journey?
I would say look at your client caseload, and if you have a PMAD practice, what's the issue that you're seeing people on the most? Like for instance, even though I'm in school, I said, I'm noticing in practice, I'm seeing a lot of Black women that are having hysterectomies. So what can I pull from their experiences that could be in this paper or in future conferences or presentations? So I would look at my caseload and see what's happening there. Am I seeing more depression, anxiety, rage? I know there at one point where there was a lot of buzz about postpartum rage, and we didn't know like what that looked like, and there were presentations about it because this is what people are seeing in practice, and they weren't in school either. So it's like, what are you seeing with your clients that you can then transfer over for presentation wise?
Right. If you serve, like you said, if you see a lot of clients from a particular cultural group, like maybe there's some issues, some things that you've noticed work better with with Southeast Asian clients that don't really work with clients from other cultural groups. So maybe you want to talk about those things, or the concerns they bring up may not be the same. So
Right.
that how do you navigate that with them as their therapist?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
You
let's
have something, Sultana. There's something there.
yeah, you're asking. I always feel like when you ask the question, like there's something, but there's something there. The question is pointing you in that direction.
Absolutely.
Um, so we know PSI, the Alliance is a program of PSI, and we're geared toward amplifying the voices of help seekers of color, but also supporting providers of color. But PSI in and of itself is not an organization that is geared specifically toward people of color, like the National Association of Black Social Workers that you mentioned, um, and things like that. Why is it important for people of color to um, present at conferences that might not necessarily be geared toward populations of color? And is there a difference? Is it as important, not as important to get your face and voice out there in these kind of spaces, as with spaces that are geared toward people of color?
It is imperative that providers of color speak at conferences, even if they are not geared towards people of color. What I've learned and what I've seen in school, not in school, if it's not us talking about us, it's someone else talking about us. And our voices need to be heard and amplified. Our lived experiences need to be heard and amplified, and no one else can do that but us. Being in school, I've seen a lot of different research articles and presentations on, Black women this, Black mothers that, Native mothers this, Native mothers that, and it's not them that's writing the papers or doing the presentation. So it's imperative that our voices be heard and seen, not just in research, but in presentations, conference presentations. And you never know, that's opportunity, that's consulting opportunities, that's more speaking opportunities, that's another stream of income opportunities. So we need to be amplified. Absolutely.
When you think about that, I don't know. I just felt like a little shudder when you said that there are people who out from outside of the community that are presenting at these conferences on these communities of color. Um, I got a little a little something went through me, but I'm wondering like why is it I forgot, girl, I forgot my line of question right there. My brain.
Sorry, I have that effect.
I know. I was just so stunned. I was like, because I'm stuck on the thought. I can't believe that people are actually doing that. Like, really?
it And I can give an example just from class, and not to make everything about school. I'm telling you, I'm so happy to be done on Friday. But we had to read a book called Evicted, and it talks about the homelessness and poverty crisis. I think it was in Chicago at some point, but it was written by a white man, and most of the people in that book were Black or brown. And granted, he's a qualitative researcher, but he had to build rapport with these people. He had to have certain boundaries with these people and like live as one of these people to write this book. And not saying there's anything wrong with that, but however, what if I had never said Evicted, maybe some people who had never heard of that, it was a excellent read. It's on Audible if you want to listen to it, which it was read by a Black man. But knowing that as a qualitative researcher, he's getting these stories, and one, these people may never read his book or even be remotely interested in his research, but it's about them. And I felt a little bit offended, even though I didn't know these people. I'm like, well, what does that look like as the researcher to not be a part of the community and to have this be their life's work and their legacy when it can be a Black or brown person doing the same thing within their own communities? So how do we get amplified? And this person, he won awards for this research. It was excellent research. I give prop where props are due, but it needs to be more of us doing research on us, talking about us, presenting on us. And it's not seen enough. It's happening more and more. I love to see it, but I want to see more of it.
Right, because it feels like that feels just exploitative on some level, and
Right.
like a little, that not that it not I don't want to disparage this gentleman who wrote this book. Not that I'm saying that he's not ethical or didn't go about this in an ethical way, but
Right.
it feels, you feel some kind of way about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that Small Steps Counseling has asked about where is the template for the PSI conference submission, and PSI has they have a conference submission website, and I'm looking right now. It's if you go to psi.societyconference.com, the information about the conference is there, and the submission guide is there too. So that's psi.societyconference.com. And I'm gonna have my lovely communications manager to put that in the chat for Facebook so you guys can find that. Okay. Here's another question I have, since we got kind of on this topic in terms of the research.
Mhm.
Um, say we submit our proposals, we get our proposals through, and we get to the point that we're actually ready to present at a conference. How do we deal with, because usually at conferences, these are people that would be your colleagues, right? Like they're in the field or a similar field, or they're students and they're aspiring to be your colleagues, and have these similar interests. How do you deal with um, microaggressions or misinterpretations of what you're trying to convey, that might have some cultural kind of like culturally derogatory
Mm.
feelings behind them? How do you deal with that as a provider of color?
Mm. I feel like this is a question for Divya.
I know she got a whole workshop on this, I know, but I'm wondering
Yes.
perspective, like what has that happened to you?
I can't say that it has, but what I would say is to challenge it in the moment. This is what I've learned from being in a post-colonial trauma-informed class this semester about, teaching experiences. And it's not something that you want to just brush under the rug, and it's not something that you want to just leave, especially in the middle of a workshop, because it's a teaching opportunity for everyone. It's a learning opportunity for everyone. So tackling it and addressing it, and then also challenging it in the moment, and not just, and then also leaving room for follow-up with, if that happens with whomever in the space, having that one-on-one conversation afterwards. Yeah, that's what I would say to that. I haven't fortunately had that happen to me. I'm really trying to think. I have not had that happen to me.
That's
But
fortunate. I mean, that is fortunate, because I know, and sometimes people are not malicious about it.
it's
Um,
just they don't know.
they don't know, right? And it's they're not malicious, and sometimes they're honestly curious. But it's how do you deal with that curiosity? Like when it comes across, sometimes it's like,
Mhm.
that didn't come out right.
Right. Right. Like, say that again. Did you mean to say it that way? Where did
Right,
that come from?
right.
How'd you come up with that? Let's talk about it. So yeah.
I got one more question for you. What do you think it means as we're preparing and thinking about going forward, and following the templates, and submitting and kind of getting past our nerves? How do we engage folks who might want to be allies for the work that we're doing, or the work we want to present on, but they're not people of color, right? So how do we collaborate with allies, or with folks from other racial or ethnic groups, as we prepare to do these things?
Mm, that is a loaded question, Andrea.
Pick a part of it, and then just answer one part of it.
Give it to me one more time so I can percolate.
So say if I have a white colleague who is supportive, um, and they do research maybe in my field, but not necessarily my topic, or they have client base. We have similar client bases, but I see mostly patients of color, Black women, and they see mostly like Southeast Asian women, or they see mostly trans folks. Like, talk about the collaboration in the process. Like you talked earlier about, maybe you want to present with 2 to 3 other people. Maybe I don't want to do that, but I want to get like feedback on my proposal, or I want to get like a broader perspective on what it is that I'm trying to say or put out there. Like, how do you ethically and like effectively collaborate as you're preparing?
Hmm. I would say why not present with them? But definitely using them ethically in a way to have eyes on that proposal. If they give pertinent feedback, citing them in that, and I tend to use anecdotes when I present, so being able to use that experience in session, and then also talking about I think being honest about hesitancy, if you will, with wanting to collaborate, and being honest about it, because sometimes that's something that we sweep under the rug or we don't talk about, but that's real, and that happens especially in this industry. It's okay to name it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely keeping that person, and as I say, in your back pocket to consult with from time to time, or even eventually presenting together, hopefully, or just being able to collaborate in that way.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? With saying like, this is my proposal. And if you have somebody who is a colleague that you trust, like,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with saying, can you look this over before I send it in?
Right. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that at all.
Do
And
you?
if you must, pay people for their time.
Okay. Okay. I'm just saying. And what about if you want to use client stories or client examples in as your part of your proposal, your presentation, like what's the ethical way to go about doing that?
Obviously, no presenting health information. Be as broad as possible or general as possible. Anytime and even when I present in training birth workers, I use client experiences, but I keep it broad and general, not utilizing names or coming up with pseudonyms if necessary, but definitely no PHI.
Okay, good. Do you know about how long it takes to hear back once you submitted a proposal? We'll keep it to the PSI context.
Yeah. So if proposals are due in January, do not quote me. I don't want to give you the wrong time frame, because we typically meet around that time, a little after that, and we have a certain amount of time to review. So I want to say like 2 months.
Okay.
That might be wrong, but I feel like that's about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from your experience, is that pretty much kind of, I know every organization and conference is different, but is that kind of par for the course? It usually takes a couple months.
Yeah. Because every conference, every organization is different. I cannot recall how many people we have on our proposal committee, but we're spread all over the United States and internationally as well. And like I said, we have a certain amount of time to look at proposals and give feedback, and then we meet within a certain amount of time virtually to talk about each proposal. So
I'm glad you said that international piece, because if you're out there and you're watching or you see a recording of this and you are not in the United States, please know that we welcome,
oh,
we want proposals from every corner of the world. We welcome
yeah,
you. Yeah.
absolutely. I was
Desiree?
say Marseille Society for September last year or this year. I wanted to go to London, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, right. Because we need to be, and we need to be looking outside of the United States as well.
Yeah.
Right. As we're considering where we're going to present, right? Like I say, I'm not there yet.
Yes, you are. You absolutely are.
Desiree, it has been such a pleasure talking to you. You've been helping the people today. You've been doing your good helping today. Answering
Don't ask me no questions after this now.
like, this is it. I've laid it all out there. Y'all got it. Is
I
it?
have. Hopefully Wendy doesn't kick me, because I may have given a little bit too much, but I wanted the people to have the information, because I want to see Robin's name. I want to see Sultana's name. Small Steps Counseling. I don't know who you are, but I want to see you as well. I want to see these proposals come through, y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So that's the bottom line. January 4th.
January
January 4th
4th.
is the last day for submission for the proposals for PSI's 2023 conference. And you know somebody is looking. Robin and Sultana and Small Steps and all of the rest of you all who know you listening. All right. We're sorry. Thank you so much for your time, Desiree.
Problem, Andrea.
All right. Everybody have a wonderful evening. And I'm going to play us out a little bit.